Oh, man, let's have some fun with this one today. Shout out Damian Lillard, one of my favorite players to watch in today's NBA. You know, he's crazy with the shot, incredible passion for the game. The clip that he's getting better at doesn't get talked about enough. Damian Lillard is box office. This is clearly an A on a team, all right? Now, here's the thing. Dame hadn't gotten a lot of help from that Portland Trailblazers front office. Some injuries have been mixed in with this as well. His number 2 is undersized, and CJ McCollum. I don't think Dame is the happiest he's ever been in Portland. If you're reading a reporter that has been close to Damian Lillard over the last few years, and Chris Haynes over there at Yahoo, saying Damian Lillard is considering some things with his future. Now, True Hoop went as far as to say Damian Lillard behind the scenes has already requested a trade, to be fair to Dame, who's getting ready to go for a gold medal in the Olympics with Team USA. He said that he has not demanded a trade, but he obviously didn't deny that he's not the happiest version of himself in Portland, and stated that he didn't think the Trailblazers was currently a championship roster. All right? And look, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Does that mean Damian Lillard's going to demand a trade today? Doesn't mean that. Does that mean he's going to demand a trade tomorrow? Doesn't mean that. But I would tend to believe that this is Dame's last year in Portland. I am categorizing this year with the Blazers as the ugly year. This is the year where you're going to hear reports of Dame being unhappy. And you know, Dame's a very loyal guy, but I think this will be the year where you see some body language where you're like, uh-oh, Dame ain't happy. He just dropped 40, but his team lost by 20. All right, so I think that is what's coming with Damian Lillard this year, even though I know he doesn't really want to do that, but it's his career. He's already 31. He's got to maximize his talent and the commitment that he put into the game. So I thought it would be dope. I don't want to take too much of your time to rank in order the 10 teams that I believe should go make a play for Damian Lillard. We're going 10-1, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have some fun. Let's get right into it at number 10. I know y'all think this is crazy, but how about the Golden State Warriors? Now, listen, Dame is an incredible talent, a great top 6, top 7 shooter in the league, right? The Warriors don't need Damian Lillard, but they do need some type of protection from Klay Thompson's injury history. Now, also keep in mind, the Warriors got a lot of assets that they could offer a team like Portland. If Portland's idea is, let's go rebuild if we're going to trade Dame this offseason, the Warriors clearly got James Wiseman, number 2 pick last year. They got lottery picks this year. It's a good draft. I'm just saying, the Warriors will be in the running of teams that could send a legit offer to Portland for Dame. And if that's the case, the Warriors could put together the greatest 1, 2, and 3 from a shooting standpoint in NBA history. Hell, period. Like, that lineup would be incredible, the amount of shooting. Literally, they would score 90 points between the 3 of them a game if Klay can get back to the version of himself that we've seen before his injuries. Dame and Golden State would be ridiculous. At number 9, I want to show my favorite team some love, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I don't believe the Lakers are going to go out and make a move for Dame Dollar, but I do think it's something that they should consider from the standpoint of Anthony Davis's injury history. Now, I do believe to pull off a trade financially and just from a talent standpoint to compete with some of these teams that got lottery picks and upcoming talent, the Lakers would have to move off of Anthony Davis to make this trade happen. And look, I don't think the Lakers want to do that today. I don't think they should do that today, but I think it's something that they should consider. Anthony Davis has got to show up in shape. Last year, he tried to work himself into shape during the season, and it didn't work out. You don't have those type of concerns with a guy like Damian Lillard. He's coming to work ready to go. You know he literally dreams, sleeps the game of basketball, and that's some commitment that you have not seen from Anthony Davis over the last couple of years. Or actually throughout his career, if you want me to be real. He was just blessed with a 4-month break last year because of COVID, which helped the Lakers propel themselves to a championship. At number 8, how about the team that shares the building with the Lakers for now, the Los Angeles Clippers? Now, keep in mind, you would have talked to me about a month and a half ago, I would be like, yo, the Clippers should think about trading for Damian Lillard to pair up Dame with Kawhi. That would be incredible, right? That's a great 1-2 punch out west that I would say would be the best team out west. I don't care who everybody else has got. Things have changed. Kawhi has a partial tear in his knee. and it looks like he's going to miss a significant time. If I'm reading Kawhi and how he's handled injuries in his past, there's a good chance Kawhi might miss the entire season next year because his rehab would put him on pace to get done or be ready to be back on a court, at the earliest December, January? And maybe Kawhi's like, I want to come back and play for my Clippers, or maybe he's like, I want to make sure I'm right the rest of my career. So now it's like, do you want to pair Paul George up with Damian Lillard? A couple months ago, I would say maybe Paul George for Damian Lillard straight up and down, but not today. What does Steve Ballmer want to do? You've made all these moves, traded all these assets for this Kawhi and PG tandem, and you'll be entering year 3 of it. And now you got guys getting close to entering free agency. You don't want this to be a waste. With no NBA Finals runs, does Steve Ballmer try to pull off a trade of all trades and get Damian Lillard? I think it's a question that the Clippers got to be asking themselves today. At number 7, the New Orleans Pelicans. Look, it's simple. They got Zion Williamson. You want to keep this guy happy. Zion could be one of the first rookies out there to decline that rookie extension and get into free agency earlier in his career. One way to stop that is by making Zion happy, and you make him happy with a point guard of the caliber of Damian Lillard. Lonzo Ball probably will leave New Orleans in free agency. Why not bring in Dame? I mean, even if it takes trading Brandon Ingram to do it. I'm serious, man. B.I. and Zion don't seem to be the best together. Not bad, but not the best together, as the Pelicans missed the playoffs this year. I think Dame, an older, mature player, could do some things with Zion. Yeah, at number 6, the Utah Jazz. One of the things you want to watch this offseason is if Utah decides to pay an agent Mike Conley. Who, look, Mike Conley was great for Utah last regular season, but when we got to the playoffs, injuries really impacted his run a lot. He wasn't able to stay on that court for the Jazz when they needed him the most. And I know he made his way back into the end of that Clippers series, but he wasn't Mike. He was a shell of himself. But he's going to be able to command a good chunk of NBA dollar this offseason because of some of his traits. He can shoot the rock, floor general, game manager, all those things. Like, Mike can still get a bag. Does Utah want to pay this man good money, though, when you got guys like, Donovan Mitchell getting the bag, Rudy Gobert getting the bag, Joe Ingles is close. Do you really want to give Mike Conley money that will lock him in past his peak years, which I think we're currently towards the back end of right now? If the Jazz are in the market for a new point guard, the question is, can they somehow facilitate a 3-team deal, get a team that's got some young assets involved, maybe trade one of their top-tier guys, not named Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert, to interest Portland in the services of Dame, in which we have heard in the past that randomly Dame doesn't mind playing for Utah. All right, so hey, maybe the Jazz go out and go get a point guard and pair him up with Donovan Mitchell. That'll be a lethal backcourt combination, one of the best in the NBA, if not the best in the NBA. At number 5, the Boston Celtics. Clearly something is missing in Boston. They went out and traded Kemba early this offseason. Hell, we ain't even got into the offseason technically, but they traded Kemba to Oklahoma City, which means they're in need of a point guard. I don't think the worst case is letting Marcus Smart run your offense, but there's better out there, and Damian Lillard is obviously better. Would you be willing to give up on a guy like Jaylen Brown to bring in Damian Lillard to pair up with Jason Tatum? That is the question in Boston. We know they've had assets for the last decade under Danny Ainge, but Danny's out. Brad Stevens is in. Where does Brad Stevens land with Jaylen Brown, a guy that he's been able to coach up into an all-star in this league? Does he think it's time to move on from Jaylen Brown in favor of Damian Lillard? If he does, then the Celtics, with a couple of picks that they still got, easily be in the market for a guy that would make Boston one of the formidable teams out east, clearly. It's not even close. They're able to acquire Damian Lillard. At number 4, Dallas Mavericks. So Luka Doncic is like Zion Williams, one of those guys where you're like, they got to get this dude some help quickly. And Luka's a lot more proven than Zion thus far in both their very young careers. Doncic's been playing overseas professional basketball for quite some time, so he's not your typical 21, 22-year-old dude. This dude is light years ahead of most of these young guys. He wants to win now, and all he needs is another guy that has that same mentality, that desire, that hunger to win. I just don't think Mark Cuban has been able to land the guy that he wants to bring in alongside Luka. Mark's trying. He just ain't been able to do that. Maybe in Damian Lillard is the time. Maybe this is the guy that you bring in alongside Luka. And when we talk about backcourt, seriously, right? Like, Dame, we understand is great. Luka's great. Like, if I'm an opposing team, where's the weakness in Luka and Dame? These are two of the smartest guys you got. Now, I do believe there will take a bit of adjustment with both of these guys' game. They both have to kind of humble themselves a little bit, take a step back, and do what's best for the team. But they're both humble dudes, and I haven't seen any signs of them not being able of altering and changing themselves for the sake of winning. Dame and Luka together, I don't know who brings the ball up court, but I also don't care because they're both very capable. Man, that will put Dallas in that top 4, top 3 out west for real, like every year, if they had Dame and Luka. At number 3, I want to shout out a team in Philly that was number 1 out east in the regular season, got to the postseason, and they realized something that the rest of the world has already known. Ben Simmons can't shoot. You're going to hear a lot of trade chatter around Ben Simmons' name this offseason alongside Damian Lillard. You probably hear both of these gentlemen's named the most. Would the Blazers be interested in a Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard swap? I think that's a very dangerous one if you're in that Portland Trail Blazers front office from this standpoint. Damian Lillard is the ultimate commitment guy. You know he's 100% locked in with a team. Here's the thing. We don't know that with Ben Simmons. The dude's got all the talent in the world, but he doesn't shoot the basketball, and it turns people off because people are like, yo, bro, you're this immensely talented dude. Why are you not in the gym working on what seems to be the thing that's the easiest to work on? Just get up more jump shots. It rubs people the wrong way. They think he's a celebrity more than he is an NBA All-Star. And I'm just concerned if I'm Portland, bringing in a Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard, what you're losing, and then what you're bringing in from what the perception is, I think it would turn a lot of season ticket holders off, to be real with you. Philly's got a couple of guys that they could put in a trade. Would you be willing to move off of Matisse Thybulle for Dame? Probably so. What else is out there? You know, Portland, if they were able to get a Ben Simmons, they would probably still be a 7 or 8 seed out west or close to it. CJ's still there. They would not be anywhere near a team that could make a real run in the West. Portland would have to ask themselves, is this what we want to do? Or do we want to go the route of more younger talent and bring in a guy that maybe is not the player that Ben Simmons is today, but at least he could shoot the basketball. And I think in this league, as great a passer and rebounder as Simmons is and a great a defender is, look, shooting is the thing that you need right now in this league. And it's the number 1 asset. And Ben doesn't do that. You lose a guy in Dame who's got unlimited range to a guy who not only does he have limited range, he doesn't have range at all. At number 2, the Miami Heat. We know for years Pat Riley has been looking to bring a star guard into that Miami Heat team. He's tried with a lot of guys, the Bradley Bills of the world. Thought he got it right with Victor Oladipo, but Oladipo's hurt again, and it's the worst time to be hurt as he's entering free agency. Does this open up the opportunity for Miami to bring in Dame? I can tell you this. Dame has been in Miami this offseason. I don't know what that means, if anything at all. I'm just saying Damian Lillard has spent some time in Miami, Florida. Does Pat Riley look at that as a sign to go out and go get Damian Lillard from Portland? Now the Heat's got some young talent that you've seen on the biggest of stages. Let's not forget, just like 8-9 months ago, Miami was in the NBA Finals, and we seen guys like Taliaferro show you signs, Duncan Robinson show you signs. You could potentially do a sign and trade with Duncan and add Taliaferro to the mix and whatever else it took. And if you're able somehow to keep Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo in Miami and add Damian Lillard, like making Jimmy Butler a number 2 to me seemingly has always been the best place for him to be. Man, that is a hell of a team in Miami. Dame, Butler, and Adebayo? That could be a team that easily finds himself right back in the NBA Finals again. And number 1 in the hood, I think the team that needs to go out and get Damian Lillard the most baddest, this would be the New York Knickerbockers. Damian Lillard would come into that Madison Square Garden with his range and his ability to score. He would light the Garden up. Like, this would be box office every game. And what we saw from the New York Knicks, though, they made a lot of strides this year with Julius Randle being an all-star and their best player, most improved player in the league. We saw that get exposed in the playoffs by the Atlanta Hawks. Like, Randle couldn't make a shot in the postseason. And here's the thing. Damian Lillard makes shots. A lot of them. You would never have that problem with Dame being your point guard. And I know the Derrick Rose thing has been a great story, but there's a cap on what Derrick Rose can be for your team today. Derrick Rose, Damian Lillard, there seems to be some overlap in personality. That humbleness, that love for the game is there. If Derrick Rose was able to make it work, you would assume that Damian Lillard, and to me, Coach Tibbs seemed to be a great pairing. Mix that in with Julius Randle, a guy that's going to be more hungry than ever. As great as he was last year, the fact that his season fell short in the first round to Atlanta, the way Trae Young came in and embarrassed them boys, yeah, them threes that Young was making in the first round of the playoffs, yeah, Dame would be able to do that as well. And making Randle your second option, oh my goodness, the Garden would be on fire every game. And I do believe if Dame were to join the New York Knicks, his brand would easily come much closer to Steph Curry, right? And if he's able to make the Knicks relevant and get them to the finals again, yeah, man, that is a great thing for Dame, but also the Knickerbockers. I think they should just say, have whatever you want, not name Julius Randle. You can have Emmanuel Quickly. You can have some other guys that have shown promise like Kevin Knox. You can have anything you want. RJ Barrett can go. If we are able to bring in Damian Lillard, I believe that. And maybe the Knicks find a way to bring in Dame. One thing to realize with the Knicks is they got a lot of cap room, so they don't need to have a trade in which it's dollar for dollar matching Dame's $30+ million salary. They got $65 million in cap expected this summer in free agency and this offseason, so they're able to bring in some cap. And Dame's cap would be one that they could absorb and still have some money to spend, honest to God truth. So shout out to their front office that's making some strides here. Yeah, that's my list, man. Y'all let me know where y'all think Damian Lillard will land. I think the biggest thing with Dame is we haven't seen a guy of that caliber seemingly be so open to just going somewhere where he can win. Like, it doesn't seem to me that Dame is super gung-ho on joining the Knicks or the Lakers or the Clippers or one of these big market teams. To me, it seems to be a guy who is comfortable in Portland, would spend the rest of his life in Portland if it meant he had a ring or two with it. But if this team's not going to be committed to winning, Dame's like, look, y'all kind of forcing my hand here. That opens the door for teams like Utah. We ain't never brought up Utah in a rumor for bringing in a top-tier all-star level guy via trade. We never did that. But again, I think that's why Damian Lillard is a little bit different in his approach. Truly, he's a loyal guy, and truly winning is the ultimate goal for him. Like, the brand, I think Dame's like, yo, I've been blessed throughout my career. The brand's going to sell itself. I'm good with what I make. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm because of my game, because of who I am as a person. I think Dame is ultimately concerned with winning at the ultimate level. That's the biggest thing for him. And if a team like Utah's able to get in the running for Dame, that means damn near everybody's in the running. If you be willing to play in Salt Lake City, yeah, willingly, like with other teams in the market for you, I think that tells you what kind of dude we're dealing with in Damian Lillard. That's why you're going to hear so many teams that you probably never heard in the running for Dame. And I do believe the Portland Trailblazers, they're not going to do Dame dirty. Like, I do believe because of what he's given that franchise, I'm not saying that they're going to 100% trade Dame to the team that he wants to go to, but they'll probably respect Lillard enough to let him have like a short list, 4 or 5 teams. Hey, let us know these teams that you're interested in, and we'll try our best if it makes sense for our organization to get you to one of these markets, all right? Y'all let me know, what team do y'all think will ultimately end up with the services of all-star Damian Lillard? This is going to be a fun one to follow. Cannot wait to see what unfolds. You get Dame, it's about that time for you to compete for championships. Simple as that.